Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Gulfstream Park here on Saturday. It is the 21st of December, 2024. We're going to look at the stakes races on the program from Gulfstream. But before I get on to that, remember, please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Let's look at the stakes action from Gulfstream here on Texas Preview Day. We'll be looking at races 4, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So five races to look at, quite a few good ones. So let's get to it right now. The fourth race from Gulfstream, it is the Sugar Swirl Stakes. It's going for a purse of $140,000, race for fillies, mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 7 horses going the distance of ground of 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the Gulfstream Park main track. We go with the 7 horse here, Mystic Lake. We're going to go 7-6-1-4 in the superfecta. 7-6-1-4 super. Top selection 7 horse Mystic Lake. 3 Philip in Motown here. Safi Joseph Jr. trains. Ira Tees Jr. gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently on the 21st September Parks, a mile 16th in the Grade 2 Cotillion Stakes, and he finished fourth by 5 3/4 lengths. He had a very wide trip, and got sent to the front end that day, but just didn't stay in the mile 16th. If you look at all the races this horse is routed, he just got outclassed and outdistanced, mainly outdistanced. Cutting back to 6 furlongs to the home base today, I think he's going to be in a much better spot to win. He ran two back in the Charlestown Oaks at Charlestown, 7 furlongs, 23rd of August, with Mike Smith coming in to ride. He won by 5 3/4 lengths that day, and basically from a tracking trip, he flew home clear. That was a very strong run for this horse that day. And then prior to that, in the victory ride at Belmont and Aqueduct, 6.5 furlongs, 4th of July. She finished second by 3/4 length. Emery had the jump on this horse late and caught her at the wire, but this horse, she ran her heart out there on the front end, but she won on the front end going away from the rail in the Miss Preakness of Pimlico back in May, winning by 4.5 lengths and 111.2. It wasn't the fastest 6, but it was still a very good run. Refreshing back to the home base at 2-1, cutting back and trip. She's a very likely winner. The 6 horse socially selective, I think she could get a piece of it. She hasn't been seen since February though. That came locally 6.5 and off 6-2, where she won by 1 1/4 lengths from a tracking trip. She flew home clear. Prior to that, going 6.5 and off 25 locally off of the 7 month refreshing. She was 100% fresh that day, winning by over a half a dozen. Again, she was driving home. She does her better running style on the front end. This track can place forward speed. 4-1. I know it's a crap price, but I'll use her in the pick for here. But to recap my selections for the fourth from Gulfstream, it's the Sugar Swirl Stakes. We're going to go take the 7 horse Mystic Lake and give kudos to the 6 horse Chalet Selective. 7-6-1-4 Super, 7-6 in the multi race. Let's head over to race number 8 now from Gulfstream, which is the Janus Stakes. It's going for a purse of $140,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards here. We have a field of 12 horses entered to go the distance of ground of 1,000 meters or 5 furlongs on the Gulfstream Park turf course. Rails are out at 66 feet, so it's the outer portion of the 120-foot wide or so turf course. Top selection, I'm going to go with the number 11 horse Coppola, 11-10-7-4 in the superfecta. 11-10-7-4 super. Top selection, 11 horse Coppola. This 5-year-old horse by Into the Mischief, Dale Romans trains. Kyler Gaffleon gets to mount. They ran the horse most recently at Churchill on the 24th of November. 5.5 furlongs and an allowance race for 143,000, and the horse finished third by 2 3/4 lengths that day. And he was with them early on. He just kind of yielded late, never quickened up, but never, weakened out of it either. He just kind of yielded, plotted along. I didn't think it was a half bad race. I think coming to a lightning fast turf course where this horse has had success on. From a wide poster, he's going to have to use a lot of speed to get over, but I think he can get the job done. He's won his last 2 on this turf course, which is very good for him. He ran 2 back in the Woodford at Gulfstream, 5.5 at Keelan, 5.5 on the 5th of October. Where he finished fourth by 2 lengths that day, and he was flying on the front end. He just yielded late, but again, it ran his heart out. And then the Kentucky Downs turf sprint, the Kentucky Downs over the 6. He just didn't handle the course, the quirkiness that day. Most recent victor came in Indiana on the dirt, actually on the slop, going 5 furlongs in July, and black type stakes, winning by 6 1/4 lengths on the front end. He flew home clear. His fourth place finish in last year's Jaipur at Saratoga again wasn't bad at all either. Refreshing here. She get a forwardly trip. I think he could win here. I think the 10 horse Arzak for Michael Trombetta and Iraq could win also. Ran most recently in the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar with a 5, where he finished 6 by 1 1/4 lengths, where he just didn't get a good trip. He hasn't won since the Shakertown at Keelan in April. Since then, he's been just facing tough horses up north. I think coming down south to these horses, I think he can find a trip to win. He's training well in the Tapeta locally. Let's give him a shot in the pick 4. But to recap my selection for the 8th from Gulfstream, it is Janus Stakes. Going to take the 11 horse Coppola. Give kudos to the 10 horse Arzak. 11-10, 7-4 Super. 11-10 in the multi race. Let's head over to race number 9 now from Gulfstream Park, which is the Harlan's Holiday Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for $165,000 purse race for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 8 horses going 1,700 meters or mile 16th on the Gulfstream Park main track. I'm going to go with the 4-horse Digital Ops as a top selection. 4162 in the superfecta. 4162 super. Top selection of 4-horse Digital Ops is a 3-year-old called by Nyquist here. Safi Joseph Jr. trains. Dylan Davis comes in to ride this horse from New York. They ran the horse most recently on the 26th of October at Aqueduct at mile 316 an optional 50 claimer, and the horse won on the front end, went the quarter length, setting some good fractions. He quickened up nicely. 90 buyer. He jumped up a lot of buyer points from his previous race. That was a strong run. We're here to a mile 16th at Gulfstream, which is 4 paced horses, which he has. I think he can get the job done. He ran 2 back on the 20th of September at Aqueduct, mile Nathan Lounge race for 92,000. Finished 22 and a quarter lengths that day, and he just never had anything. He was wide, and he was just flat that day. Something just must have went amiss that day. And then Saratoga back in August, mile Nathan Lounge race, finished 4th by 3 and a quarter lengths that day. I thought he won more ground, but again, he got around the race course okay. Breakings made in June at Aqueduct going the 1 turn mile was impressive. Winning by head on the front end, going all out. He flew home clear. He's training well since the last race, since coming to this new barn. Yeah, half mile draw the gate last time in 48 flat. I'm going to give him a shot on the ticket. I think the 1-horse Tuscan Sky get a piece of it also for Todd and Johnny, the classic duo here. He ran most recently in Discovery at Aqueduct over the mile and eighth, where he finished second by 3 quarters length, where he just kind of got overtaken late, but he didn't go down without a fight. He showed a good heart that day coming back first start since the Haskell, where he finished 6 by 20 lengths, never really getting the trip that day. But he won the Pegasus in June at Monmouth quite easily. Disappointing run last year's Wood Memorial, but his races begin off his career in January and in February at Aqueduct and Fairgrounds, respectively. Those races weren't bad at all. Stepping up a major class here today shouldn't be a problem. Training well at Palm Beach. I'll give him a shot in the late pick 4. But to recap my selection for the ninth from Gulfstream Parks, it's the local Pegasus World Cup prep race. It is the Harlan's Holiday. Going to take the 4-horse Digital Ops. Give kudos to the 1-horse Tuscan Sky. 4162 Super. 4-1 in the multi race. Let's head over to race number 10 now. Featured 10th race from Gulfstream Park. It's the Fort Lauderdale Stakes. It's a grade 2 event going for a purse, $215,000 race for 3-year-olds and upwards here. We have a field, a field of 9 horses entered to go 1,800 meters or a mile and eighth on the Gulfstream Park turf course. Again, the rails are around 66 feet for this race. This year it's going to be a grade 2. I thought the last few runnings, could keep this race at a grade 2, but this week when the graded race society came together, they decided next year this race will be a grade 3, which was a bit of a head scratcher. Some races, I could understand downgrading. Some races, upgrading, especially last year with that Kentucky Downs race, it was just a major head scratcher. But this race should have been downgraded. And still, off subject, why isn't Cigar Mile a grade 1 again? It will be by the end of the decade, I think, if we keep getting races like we had this year in the Cigar Mile. But that's off subject. We're here at Gulfstream and Fort Lauderdale, local prep race for the Pegasus World Cup turf, which between the 2 Pegasus races, or 3 now, I think that the male turf division is probably my favorite because it's always an exciting race. But here in the Lauderdale, I'm going to go with 5-horse win for the money. I'm going to go 5-2-4-8 in the superfecta, 5-2-4-8 super, top selection of 5-horse win for the money. There's 5-year-old Gelding by Mohiman. Mark Hassey trains. Dylan Davis gets the mount. Most recent outing for this horse came in the Breeze Cup Mile Del Mar, a mile on the 2nd of November, and the horse finished 10th by 7 and a quarter lengths that day. And he was with him early on to get somewhat good position, but he was just more out of it. We get out of it late. He just got outclassed by the others. I think coming here to Gulfstream, going the mile and eighth to a turf course he's won on, where he'll be a little bit more fully paced than it was last time out. I think he can find a trip to win. He closed from the clouds 2 back of Woodbine on the EP lawn and the Grade 1 Woodbine Mile. He won by 1 and a quarter lengths, closing up from the back of the pack. He ran his heart out. 102 buyer with Patrick Usman's up the veteran. That was a strong run. And then prior to that, the Kentucky Downs preview turf mile, like Ellis, a mile on the 3rd of August, finished second by 1 and a quarter lengths that day. And he was a little bit wide that day. He moved a little bit late, but he still needs something more. And then the Wise Dan finishing fourth, he just wasn't that comfortable at Churchill. But if you look at some of his races last year, as the season went on, he started showing more potential. He came back to win been the Mr. Steel on this turf course back in May against a black type company. Came up north to run disappointingly in the Wisden at Churchill, but then ever since that race, he's been improving a lot. Down in class here today from his previous race, which was the British Cup. 5-2, I think he can find a trip to win. The 2 hours Grand Sonoto cutting way back a trip, I think, can win also. He ran a fourth in this race last year where he gained a lot of ground for the back of the pack. Not a bad race in the feed. Came back to run here, came back to run an aqueduct in the spring over the mile where he had a decent place. And then they were just running him over the longer marathon trips where he was running okay. Actually won the Kentucky Downs Turf Cup. But, he's proven that he can win over the mile and the eighth trip. He actually won over this trip of ground at Saratoga back in the summer of 23, winning by a neck in a very tough race. Beating home Easter is a decent horse right now on the West Coast, but he's another horse coming back to this course. He's a horse for course kind of horse. He's 3 for 2 on this course, so he likes running here. 3-1. I'll give him a shot here in the late pick four. But to recap my selection for the 10th now from Gulfstream, it's grade 2 for Lauderdale. Going to take the 5 horse win for the money. Give kudos to the 2 horse Grand Sonota. 5-2-4-8 Super. 5-2 in the multi race. Let's get to the nightcap, the 11th race now from Gulfstream Park, which is the Suwannee River Stakes. It's grade 3 event going for $165,000 purse races for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 12 horses going 1,600 meters or a mile on the Gulfstream Park turf course. This time will be on the inner portion of the turf course with the rails down at the 0 foot position. I'm going to go with the number 8 horse here, who is Saffron Moon. I'm going to go 8-11-4-7 in the superfecta. 8-11-4-7 super. Top selection, the 8 horse Saffron Moon. This 5-year-old mare by Malibu Mood. Chad Brown trains. Tyler Gaffleone gets to mount. They ran the horse most recently on the 17th of October at Keeneland, a mile 16th allowance race for 102,000, and he finished second by half length that day. And he sat back early, and he just didn't have a lot of forwardly pace like he did in his previous outings. First off the bench, and probably needed the race that day, but he sat back early. He really gained a lot of ground late, just missed. But for being the horse's first start in quite a while, I thought she ran her hard now. Coming here second off the bench, coming to a turf course when the rails are down, you need to have forwardly pace. I think this horse can show forwardly pace from where she's drawn. And I think that's going to be, a strong thing for her here today to get the job done. But she ran terrifically off the bench last time out. Two back in the Cardinal at Churchill, the mile and age, finished second by 10 lengths that day. That was in the fall of 23 at Churchill, where that turf course was very, very weird. We had a completely different turf course as the season went on at Churchill in the fall, which was a lot better. This horse just wasn't handling it. The Star Force just ran terrifically in the front end, but you were just horn handling on that course there. And then allowance race at Keeneland last fall over the mile 16th. She won by 2 3/4 lengths, and basically from a tracking trip, she flew home clear. She's improving a lot since her turf efforts. Coming here today, I think she could win. If you look at her 2-year-old form, actually, go back to it. She actually ran in the debut race that Nest won at Belmont going mile 16th. She actually lost Manny Franco that day. Came back from it at Belmont after that, where she ran a decent Derby on Nostalgic, who was a decent horse. So just it was fun going through those, watching those replays. And I was at actually Belmont that day when Nest won, but still, since coming to the green stuff, she's improved a lot. Coming here today, I think she could win. 11 horse breath away for Christoph and Dylan, I think, can win also. She ran most recently in the Forever Together in Aqueduct over the mile 16th in November, where she finished second by a neck, and she gained ground. She just missed the lead. She had the lead. She got caught. She ran her heart out, but she has to save some ground. It's going to be hard to do today from 11 of 12, but, I think she has potential. She ran 2 back in the Noble Damsel at Aqueduct over the mile in September, where he finished third by a head. And again, horrible beginning, but again, gained a lot of ground. And then at Saratoga over the mile and off 6-2, winning by a neck from a tracking trip. When she wins, sometimes she doesn't win by a lot, but she had to be used a lot to get the job done. She's run here 3 times in the past on this turf course, and she's run 3 terrific races. Her only defeat came last year's Tropical Park Oaks nearly a year ago to the day, where she finished second by a head behind Be My Sunshine, who's breaking on the inside of her today. She just missed, but she ran her heart out from a stupidly wide post draw. She won the Sandoval Island here as a 3-year-old a couple seasons ago. I think coming to back to this turf course, she can win. I would use her on the ticket, and even the 4 horse Papaleo for Mark Hansen and Fabio can win also. A bit of price here, 15-1. Won the an optional 80 at Churchill in June quite nicely. Came back to run the Matchmaker, where she had a very very troubled trip, and then just couldn't get comfortable at Kentucky Downs. Showed potential at Aqueduct last time out in the Athenia. Back to coming to this turf course, which is a lightning fast turf course. I think this horse likes fast ground. I think at 15-1, this horse could possibly upset. I'll use her in the late pick four to possibly upset this ticket. But to recount my selection of the 11th and now from Gulfstream Park, it's the Suwannee River. Going to take the 8 horse Saffron Moon, give kudos to the 11 horse Breath Away and the 4 horse Papaleo, 8, 11, 4, 7 Super, 8, 11, 4 in the multi race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5. Good luck, everybody, and happy holidays.